Welcome back to the Football Today podcast on the 22nd of February as we look forward to the upcoming weekend of Premier League football and talk all things Matildas as they play Uzbekistan, actually in a huge match. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and all the socials as well, and wherever you get our podcasts. Not your usual host again for this week, Alex Donnelly. He'll be crying over some drinks on the beach, I think. Sorry in his Arsenal losses this morning. So they lost to Porto, which he'll be absolutely gutted about. I'm your host, Liam McAllion, also known as the Stats Guy. Here today, as always, he's rocked up for work. Marcus Bazzano. How you going, Marcus?
I always do, mate. Whenever Arsenal lose and Chelsea are on a high, I'll rock up the work.
Yeah, we have to live these moments because it doesn't happen very often, does it, at the moment? This is a huge preview show for EPL Matchweek 26. We've got our big call for the weekend, Doomsday Scenario, which we always love doing. We've got our Nah, which will be shortly. We've got an interview with Code Sports journalist Erin Smith, which was really fun about the Matildas match, the Olympic qualifiers on Saturday night in Chile, Uzbekistan, which we'll touch on. And then Champions League results as well, which I think we're going to start with the Nahs around that. What have we got our Nah to start the show, Marcus?
Certainly. We're going to focus on a Champions League Nah after Arsenal lost to Porto this morning.
Shock loss, yeah.
And it's, will an English side win the Champions League this season?
Whoa. I've been all over Real Madrid, so I'm going to say nah. I think, obviously, Man City are the heavy favourites. They've got an unbelievable side. They've got all their good players back. Obviously, De Bruyne and Haaland are probably the best duo. Then you've got Rodri, who's the best probably midfielder. Defensive midfielder in the world. They've got a lot of those guys, but I'm still leaning towards Real Madrid. I think they've got a few injuries, so I need to sort of look into that a bit more. But I'm going to say nah because I reckon, Real Madrid can pull it out of the bag. They just get over the line against a lot of teams, but they know how to win. So, I'm going to lean towards them. What do you lean towards?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards no as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you were on Man City.
I was thinking Man City, but they just, after the Chelsea result, watching them play in the league this season, I know they missed out on De Bruyne and Haaland for a lot of it.
Yep.
But they just don't look like the same ruthless side that they have been. I think they're getting a little bit burnt out. That might be hard. That might be hard to say, considering they just won a treble.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think a side like Bayern Munich, even though they lost to Lazio in the first leg 1-0, I think they go and turn that around. And also big news as well, Thomas Tuchel is leaving at the end of the season.
Well, didn't they get rid of him? Yeah. They're
getting rid of him
at the end of the season.
At the end of the season.
Which is very harsh.
Imagine he wins the Champions League and then they part ways.
Well, that's pretty much what Chelsea ended up doing not that long after anyway with him. He's had the most unlucky run of form with coaching teams, hasn't he? Just Chelsea. I know, obviously, was pretty bad towards the end of his Chelsea career, but a lot of people would have kept him.
It was,
and then Bayern Munich. It's not even his fault. Harry Kane's gone there and ruined their fortions because he can't win a trophy.
It's the Harry Kane curse. If anything, get rid of Harry Kane.
Yeah, even though he's going to break some records.
Bring him to Chelsea. Bring him to Stamford Bridge.
But you think, you think Bayern could win this one?
I think Bayern could. Although there aren't a lot of standout teams in this Champions League. You think of 2-3 teams.
Yeah,
they look like they're going to win. They're going to win this. I don't really look at any team now and say they're going to win the Champions League.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, it's close. That's one good thing. Obviously, Porto beating Arsenal, most people would have thought Arsenal would have cruised through them. They didn't even get a shot on target, which was horrible.
Should have lost by 2 goals. You see that miss as well?
Yes,
hit the post, came back to him.
Forgot about that one, actually. Yeah. So, it's really close at least. What did City, what did they win? 3-1. So they did really well. Obviously, Real Madrid won 1-0 on the away leg, so they're probably going to win at home, I think.
Yep.
I think, Real Madrid, City have really good depth, and Bayern just have those stars. So I think it's out of those three. But we're both on no English side winning it, which is rare because Man City had heavy favourites, but I don't mind it.
Maybe even Barcelona, I think. Could do a job.
Yeah. I don't know if their depth matches to all those other 3 teams. But
exactly. They've struggled a bit this season, but they did look very good against Napoli and were very
Napoli's
unlucky.
no easy beat as well.
Very unlucky to draw that game.
No, I don't mind that. All right, so no English side. You've heard it here first. They're not winning the Champions League this season. Yeah, we'll get that clipped up if it's correct, I reckon. Big call for the weekend. Yeah, Leo, get that behind the camera over there. Get that clipped up, I reckon. Big call for the weekend. EPL Matchweek 26 coming up. What do you got, Marcus, for us?
Brentford will beat West Ham. Brentford will beat West Ham at the London Stadium.
West Ham are crap at the moment, so I don't mind that.
West Ham have been horrendous. Brentford, again, haven't been great, but in all fairness to them, they have played Man City twice in their last 5 games, as well as Tottenham, I believe.
Yep.
And maybe there
Wolves,
was another,
they beat Wolves, which is a great result.
There might have been another tough game in there, but I think they honestly, even though I don't like singing Brentford's praises, I tipped them to almost go down or I did at the end of last season.
Yeah.
but I reckon they can get the job done, and West Ham will slide down into the bottom half of the table.
Ooh, they will, yeah. As I've said this every podcast, but as soon as I talked them up, they've slid down. They are, I think, worse. I know they're still just ahead of Wolves and Chelsea, I believe.
Yep.
I think they are worse, way worse for in the last couple of months than both of those top
they've lost
sides.
3 on the trot. So, yeah, as we mentioned on the Tuesday show, they have the worst form in the competition with Burnley in the last 5 games.
Jeez, you don't want to be paired with Burnley with anything. So
no, exactly.
unless Sean Dyche comes back or something like that. I'm going to go big call for the weekend. Wolves score 5+ against Sheffield.
I like that.
At the start of the season, I remember us saying that Wolves won't even know how to score a goal. They've been really good since they got Gary O'Neill on board. They scored 3 against Man U the other week, and then just the last couple of months they scored 4 against Chelsea, 4 against Brentford.
Yep.
All 3 of those teams are much better than Sheffield United, and I think Wolves can just put on a big score. Big call. I think they'll at least score 3, but the bigger call I think is them scoring 5. Because
I don't think them scoring 3 is a big call, but
I don't
scoring
know. 5 is it's
5
a
in
bit
a big game is like an 100-point loss in footy. So.
And the weird thing is they've actually been better scoring away from home. So it'll just be interesting. I don't know. Usually the Molineux's pretty hard place to play. So and Sheffield United, as we mentioned last podcast, are on track almost for the worst defense in history of the Premier League. So for a season. So they've been going at 4 goals a game the last 4 matches. So I think 5 is definitely doable for the form that Wolves are in.
Yeah, 100%. I like that call, Stats Guy.
Oh, cheers. Thanks, mate. Let's go to Doomsday Scenario. What do you got?
I've got Arsenal dropping points to Newcastle.
Oh, that would be Doomsday. I don't think Alex will come back from Asia to do this podcast.
So we'll just rip into Arsenal for the next 2.
Yeah, because
Arsenal hate podcast.
If they drop another few points, I don't know if we'll see him ever again. But
I know it doesn't seem like a doomsday or Arsenal dropping points to Newcastle.
No, I think it is, yeah.
But in terms of the title race, they can't afford to drop points. In terms of losing, going off the back of a loss in the first leg of the Champions League, if they lose
a bit of confidence
or drop points, this could be huge for their season. This could almost rule out their Champions League hopes and their Premier League title hopes if they drop points here. In all honesty, with City and Liverpool not looking like they'll drop points anytime soon.
No, this morning, Liverpool were a bit shaky, but then they found their gear.
Down and then
still won 4-1. So
once they score, the floodgates open. But I think that's my doomsday's Arsenal drop points. What about you?
I'm going to go Villa lose to Notts. So Notts obviously are very inconsistent. They've actually been pretty good. Since we said they couldn't really score, they've actually been pretty solid. They've scored 2 goals, I think, in 3 of the last 4 games. They
have been fairly lucky though, like a couple deflections and they had a red card in the previous game. But I reckon you've had Villa in your doomsday scenario to lose 4 out of the past 6 doomsdays. Well, Leo's given the thumbs up.
I don't know about that. We'll have to get the counter back. Well, I just think if they lose, like they've finally got that nudge ahead of Tottenham. Tottenham don't play this week. Just a bit of mind games against Tottenham. If they get a win, they go, I think, 5 points ahead of Tottenham from 4th. Whereas if they lose, they're still only 2 points ahead, and then Tottenham have that game in hand and can jump them. So I just think this is a huge game for the top 4. If Villa get that win, they go 5 points ahead, and Tottenham, it might be hard for them to catch up. So
obviously you mentioned Tottenham not playing this week. The Chelsea versus Tottenham game was postponed for the EFL Cup final, which we'll see a special of.
Yeah, good segue there. Check that out on YouTube. We'll do a big preview on that, Chelsea versus Liverpool for the EFL Cup. I think it's just a huge game, just for the mind games of staying in that top 4, getting the belief from Aston Villa that I think they should win. I'm not saying that they won't, because at home, I think they'll bounce back. They haven't been great at home the last month.
What was it? 17 wins in a row, and then they've lost 3 of like the last 4 or 5.
Notts, they should easily beat Notts, but it'll just be interesting because the pressure on them to stay in top 4 when it's very rare that Villa gets in that top 4. So, so we'll see how that goes for the Doomsday scenario. All right, the rest of the EPL Matchweek 26 games. We're going to go through half the games. Then we got a bit of an interview with Erin Smith, which was really good fun about the Matildas. Then we're getting through the rest of the games. So, first game off the ranks was Palace versus Burnley. What do we got there?
This is a bit of a 6-pointer. I think this actually could be a good game to watch.
Yeah.
Now that Roy Hodgson Ball is out.
Roy Ball.
Because you have a look at the table. For Burnley, these are the games that they need to be winning if they want to climb out the relegation zone. They're 7 points away from it now.
It's almost
Crystal Palace are kind of getting dragged into the relegation zone, but with a win, again, it's like a 6-pointer. They can get that buffer again and be 10 points clear. So I reckon this is a really important game. So even though you might not think on the paper it looks the best of games, I reckon this could be one. But I've got a stat for you here.
Oh,
Stats guy.
Nice.
only one of the previous 15 managers to take charge at Crystal Palace have won the first game. So like a new manager bounce.
One.
It's a myth at Palace.
Jeez.
Only one, and it was Alan Pardew in 2015. They beat Tottenham.
So the last 15, that could be over 20-something years if it's 15 managers, because Roy was there for a bit and then...
Yeah, Roy had 2 stints there, so Patrick Vieira.
So the new manager bounce, which is in lots of different sports. It's a myth for Palace. I'm going to go Burnley then. You've convinced me. I'm going Burnley.
You're going Burnley.
I think that could be the dumbest thing I've ever said, tipping Burnley, who are 19th and 13 points. But the stat has just come around. Yeah. I reckon you're going to go a draw.
It wouldn't be a podcast without me tipping a draw. So
what a surprise.
I'm going for a draw.
Going for a draw. All right. I don't mind that. Both teams... Look, aren't very good, so it could just be like a 1-0, 0-0, anything like that.
Yep.
Next one, Villa versus Notts. I quickly touched on that. Villa should and have to win. You wrote it here.
Yep.
Notts haven't been too bad. I know they've been lucky, but they have improved in attack.
Yep.
But Villa at home, surely their fans and just the way they play, Ollie Watkins surely just fires up and gets them over one.
I wouldn't be surprised if he finds the back of the net. He scored last week as well, didn't he? I'm pretty sure. So. But Nottingham Forest, they're exciting out wide.
Yeah.
With
my boy Hudson-Odoi.
Callum Hudson-Odoi, sort of top 6 rejects.
Bring him back, Chelsea. Bring him back.
I don't mind. But we always think like, oh, he's young. But Hudson-Odoi, I don't know, how old would he be now? Like 24?
I saw him play for England actually in 2019, so he was only probably 20 then. Yeah, he's probably 24. Let's have a look. He is 23. Still 23. Young.
He's still young,
but not as young as the amount of minutes he's playing. But he's starting to hit a bit of form, which is really good.
But I think a Villa win here.
Yeah, Villa win. Yeah, I think they'll win pretty easy. Next one's Man United versus Fulham. Man United unbeaten in their last 16 versus Fulham. You've got here.
Yeah, correct. They've won 13 of those 16 and drawn 3.
So Fulham might as well just not turn up.
Recent history suggests Manchester United are up for a cruisy win. And Fulham have been absolutely shocking on the road this season. They're the second worst away side, based on away form in the division.
Really?
I can't remember whose last. Might be Sheffield.
It's probably Sheffield. I think it's Sheffield. Or Burnley,
Sheffield and then Fulham.
Yep.
But Fulham are winless on the road in their last 11 Premier League games.
Yeah, because I remember watching a few Fulham games this season. They're not too bad at home because they play a bit more attacking, but then away they've just been horrible.
They won their first game away at the start of the season. I can't remember who that was against.
Yeah.
But then since then they haven't won away from home.
Jeez. Well, pencil in a Man United win. I know I think so. They were a bit shaky against Luton, as we talked about during the week, but they still got the win. They've been such good. Was it 5 or 6 games in a row they would have won now, I reckon? Something like that. So they're in really good form. So I'm going to go, Man U to whomp them, I reckon.
They won 4 of their last 5, Man United.
Yeah, okay. There you go. They're going really well now. Brighton versus Everton is the next one. This is a weird one because Brighton is so untrustworthy, but Everton are pretty average in their own right. So I don't know what's going to go on.
Well, we say Brighton are untrustworthy and inconsistent this season. That's how they have been against Everton in recent seasons.
Ooh.
So they actually have a poor recent record against Everton. They haven't beaten Everton in their last 6 meetings.
Really?
Yeah, so, there could be a draw on the cards. Everton have won the last 2 games at the Amex.
Oh.
So
are you going
there's
Everton?
hope for Everton. I'm not going Everton.
I'm
going to go a draw.
Oh,
I love
nice.
a draw, so a draw for me.
I'll go Brighton. I know they were lucky that they got a red card. Sheffield United got a red card and then they put on 5 goals. But just the way they play, if they get into that attacking, once they get one, Brighton just loves scoring. It's just that getting one. Sometimes they take ages in the second half. They might get the first one and then they open the floodgates a bit and they go, we can actually play really attacking. I think they just need to come out. Their old way of playing that was at the start of the season, even if they concede one early, just play that attacking style because they've got so many good attackers.
I don't know. I've got a feeling that Brighton will struggle to break down Everton because the way they sit back a bit, sit back a little bit more.
Yeah.
And you've got big sort of mask heads at the back with like Branthwaite for
Branthwaite. He's actually really good.
He's going to be a future England
player,
England centre half.
Yeah. They like picking Everton players like Pickford and I was trying to think of other ones.
Michael Keane back in the day as well.
Exactly.
Picked, So there's plenty.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to go Brighton to win. I think at the Amex they should be winning that, but I've said that a lot about Brighton this season that they should be winning. Let's have a quick break. I'm going to do a interview now with Erin Smith, Code Sports journalist. We touch on a lot of stuff about the Matildas. They're playing Uzbekistan on Saturday night in the very chilly conditions. I think it's going to be 3 degrees and a low of -6. There's been the last couple of days over there, so that'll be interesting. Everyone will have to share Mary Fowler's gloves. I reckon they'll be sharing them around.
Well, half the squad's over in WSL in England.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
They're probably used to it.
Yeah, well, no, but some of the others are playing here in the Women's A-League. We did talk about the Women's A-League and different ways that should be able to grow and who will step up for the Matildas with no Sam Kerr, obviously no Sam Kerr. And then we finished off with a bit of a quick fire questions, which was good fun. So check that out before we get into the next part of the show. All right, football today is back with another special segment. Rather than the usual panel, the usual knuckleheads that we have usually in the studio, we've got extra knowledge and professionalism. I'm here with Erin Smith, sports reporter for Code Sports. Loving the jersey, Erin, the Matildas kid. That's my favourite kid at the moment, I reckon. Thank you for coming on. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thank you. How are you?
Really good, really good. We're going to talk all thing women's football today. Actually, we always talk about the EPL and things like that. We love talking about the Matildas, so we'll touch on that. So the Matildas are playing in a really important clash this Saturday, which we'll get right into. But also a bit of news in the Women's A-League and an article that you wrote. I'll start off with the first question of the day. I saw a great article you wrote about the Women's A-League. Players on a lot less money. Likes of Ali Carpenter that used to play in the Women's A-League. Polkinghorne has come out, sort of shown behind some support behind this league and getting more money involved. What would you say that some extra pay and would do to grow and improve this league and the standards that it can get to?
I think it would be astronomical. I mean, with the exception of the Matildas players and the international stars, every player is essentially juggling their football career with a second job.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, some of them at schools, some of them are working at Macca's. Like, it's
crazy.
Not really screaming professionalism. Giving the extra money doesn't just give them time, though, to focus on football. It allows the clubs to be more professional. So
definitely,
at the moment, clubs aren't able to hold training sessions at the most optimal time for peak performance. It's picking a training session that the majority of the players can get to in between their other jobs, which is far from ideal.
No, you don't want that in the professional environment, do you? No, definitely not.
So, I think it would change everything and not just close the equity gap that we see between the men and the women, which is ginormous.
Yeah.
It would, you can't grow the sport without investment. And I think the next investment has to be full-time contracts for these players. They're on 9-month contracts, trying to juggle jobs and everything in between training and football. It can't be easy.
No, you're right. I think you've made some really good points. It's not just to do with the standards, it's just the whole, even recruiting players. A player comes in and you're seeing the training schedules all over the shop or things like that. It would change a lot. So I think, you're spot on. And definitely check out that article that Erin's written. It's really good on Code Sports, I believe. Let's get into some Matildas. So that was a bit about the Women's A-League that we like to touch on. But now the Matildas, they're playing a huge match, Olympic qualifier against Uzbekistan in Uzbekistan, the first leg this Saturday night. Obviously no Sam Kerr, which a lot of fans would be sad about, but the depth in this team is crazy, as we showed in the Women's World Cup. Be the goal scorer against Uzbekistan.
I think there'll be a couple if things go
I think it'll be a pretty
but
high-scoring game from the Matildas, yeah.
I'm hoping it's going to be Mary Fowler and Caitlin Ford.
Yep.
I just really want them to find that rhythm and start singing together. Sam Kerr is going to be out for a while, so
definitely
this isn't a short-term solution. We need to find a long-term solution to this problem.
Yep. And
I think those two really are the answer. Mary Fowler's just phenomenal, and Caitlin Ford, she has been a touch out of form, but when she's on song, you can't fault her. So I think if those two can find their rhythm, the Matildas will be almost unstoppable.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great call, especially, Caitlin Ford. I feel like a lot of these players sort of find their best form for the Matildas. They might, be a bit different form for Arsenal or Man City in the Women's Super League, which I've been disappointed Mary Fowler's not starting. But I feel like when she comes back in, she'll be eager to be in that starting lineup again for the Matildas, which would, be really good. The majority of the players now are ready to face Uzbekistan over there in Uzbekistan. How do you fancy the chances? I think a lot of people are expecting a pretty big win. And do you think we'll see any new faces in the starting 11?
I think it's going to be an interesting match. If you look at how Uzbekistan played against Japan in their qualifiers, they parked the bus. They can do it well, and they can do it for 90 minutes, which is
frustrating.
Matildas' favour. They like to be able to, be free and play their football. So I think it's going to be an interesting challenge for them. The Matildas have come up against it quite a few times now and have managed, with the exception of Nigeria at the World Cup, they've managed to handle it quite well. I don't think TG is going to put any of those new faces in that starting 11.
Okay,
I think he's going to go out hard and prove what the Matildas can do. I'm thinking they'll more be off the bench.
Off the bench,
going to be everyone's going to see a team they're used to seeing on that field.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I mean, TG is impossible to pick. He always seems to do what no one expects him to do. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. It was a bit like that against the Canada games where we got smashed and they were playing sort of the second team and things like that. Bit of an impromptu one. Off the bench, we got Michelle Heyman. She likes to come off the bench and score. Everyone's been talking about her. We talked about her last week on the show. Or any other ones you think might come off the bench and make a bit of an impact?
If Michelle Heyman gets on the field and gets a chance, she will finish it.
She will finish. Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't miss.
That's awesome. That's what we want to see. Yeah.
So if she's given a chance, she will score.
Yep.
It's just whether or not TG uses her. I think it's going to come down to who's in that camp and how they're performing. The weather could play an impact too. I mean, it's pretty chilly over there.
Yes, I saw that actually. Yeah, that'd be a bit different.
Yeah, I think we're expecting a top of 3 degrees on Wednesday.
I'm looking at it now. It's currently -6 in the morning over there. That's not fun.
So the Aussie players, the ones who've come from the A-Leagues, they might, still be acclimatizing. It'll be just interesting to see if they do get on the field.
Yeah.
As for others to watch, I think you'll give Caitlin Torpey a run, even if it's for 20 minutes or something, just to see what she can do. I don't
That'll be really exciting.
To that camp without wanting to test her.
True.
I think it'd be a big ask if he puts Sophie Harding on though. She's never even been in a national camp before. So
crazy, yeah.
I think she'll just be soaking it all in and might get her chance in Melbourne. But I'd be surprised if she got on the field, unless, somehow we end up 7-0 up or something.
Yeah, which we might. You never know. I think you're making some good points there. Even just some of those girls just come into the squad, just the experience of being part of the superstars and knowing the game plan and things like that, I think will be really valuable. Those are my main questions for you. And I'm going to do a bit of a quick fire one to finish, just some players and then a score prediction. I want your most underrated player in this Matildas squad at the moment.
Claire Hunt.
Claire Hunt, yeah. Great call. Biggest X factor?
Karakuni Cross.
Yes, nice. Arsenal fans will be loving that. Score prediction, I think it's going to be pretty one-sided, but it might be tougher over there. As you mentioned, the conditions might be a bit funny, but what's your score prediction?
I'm going to go 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah,
okay.
I think we might. Yeah, I think if we get those early goals, we might sit back and just play a bit conservative. I'm not. Yeah.
Especially if they're parking the bus. Yeah.
For a big win. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It might be a bit bigger in Melbourne, I reckon. Especially, this would be a good practice actually for some Olympic games when we've got some teams that might end up parking the bus as well. So this would be great practice for that. Yeah. No, that's awesome. Hopefully it's a 2-0 win. We'll be back in hard for the Matildas. I think that's it. Check out Erin Smith on Code Sports and all over the socials like Twitter. Erin will be in Melbourne next week actually for the Matildas second leg. So she'll be in the studio. So check that out on YouTube next week, which will be really good fun. Thank you very much for coming on, Erin. Go the Matildas.
Yes, go the Matildas.
Thank you. Let's get right back into the usual show. All right, Marcus, let's podcast, Football today's back in the second half of the show. Bournemouth taking on Manchester City. Yep. Pretty big game in terms of City having to win to get back into the title contention. Yep. City lead a 14-2 aggregate against Bournemouth, actually, across the last 3 meetings. So Bournemouth will be shaking in their boots.
Not surprising there. I think they had one big win against Bournemouth, didn't they? It was like a 6 or 7 goal.
It was, I think it was 6, and that helped the aggregate. But 14-2 in the last 3, that's crazy. So you surely City absolutely smash it. But Bournemouth haven't been too bad.
You know what? But I think this is just City.
Revenge game.
They know how to win these games because they've had to do it to win the title in the past, and it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. We got to tip City. Bournemouth obviously haven't been too bad. I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak a goal because you got Solanke.
They're safe this season.
They're safe as well. Yeah. Yep.
So
definitely. Next one's Arsenal versus Newcastle. Newcastle. It's definitely not Newcastle. Arsenal versus Newcastle. Oh my God, that's a funny one. 0-0 last meeting at the Emirates, but both strong attacks in the league games this year. So I think this is going to be a pretty high scoring game.
100% game of the round.
Game of the round. Yep.
Well, game of the match week.
Yep.
But yeah, I really don't know what to make of this game because Newcastle was so inconsistent and Arsenal have shown signs of shakiness. I say shake. It's probably a bit harsh.
I think they've been really, really good.
They've been really good in the league.
Yeah.
We're probably just being a little bit too reactive to the Champions League loss. But Mikel Arteta will want them to come back firing and ready to go after their Champions League loss. And they're not going to want 2 back-to-back defeats because that could really derail their season. No,
you're right. I think Newcastle have actually lifted in sort of these sort of games. They've been losing. Away games, and then the top
sort of pick up.
Sort of 6 teams they've been going all right against, which is weird. But I wouldn't be. I think Arsenal will just get over like 3-2 or something because Newcastle
at the Emirates as well.
At the Emirates, you got to back them. They've won. What do they won? 5-0, 6-0, 3-1, 2-1, 5-0. Their form's unbelievable in the league. I know
Yeah.
we are a bit reactive talking about them bagging them in the Champions League.
Yep.
They might struggle in the Champions League, but I think they will win this one at home. If it was at St. James's Park, might be maybe a draw. You'd love a draw, but
I think we're just rolling off our hatred for Arsenal and Alex's love for Arsenal.
Probably, but yeah, I think we've got to tip them this week. Next one, Wolves taking on Sheffield United. Sheffield United, clear worst defense. Wolves firing an attack with Gary O'Neill, as I mentioned. I reckon they could score 5 here. He has them absolutely cooking.
Yeah, we talked about this game, so we won't go over it too much.
Yep.
But I think Wolves win this one. They win this one convincingly. Like you mentioned, I liked your call of them finding the back of the net at least 5 times.
5 times, yeah. I'll have to get a bet on that.
But then, Sheffield are always capable of bagging a goal.
Yeah, their attackers aren't too bad, yeah.
And I know they've conceded a lot of goals this season, but with Chris Wilder in, I think they're a little bit more free-flowing. So I think they'll have a lot more chances than they did under the previous manager. So, but in saying that, I think Wolves get the job done.
Yeah, they'll absolutely smash them, I reckon. Last game of the weekend, West Ham taking on Brentford. You already said you think Brentford are going to cause a bit of an upset here at London Stadium. It's sort of an upset because West Ham have been out of form, but I would be interested to go through the archives actually because Brentford might not have even ever won it at the London Stadium because they obviously a pretty new club in the top flight. I'm going to go a draw. I haven't had any draws yet, so I'm going to go draw just because I don't. If this was at GTEC Community Stadium, I'd say Brentford could win this 2-0. I think both teams have been not too amazing in attack. I'm going to go draw. West Ham desperately need to just get a point just to get some confidence back. So, yeah, I'm going to go draw.
Yeah. Like I mentioned, I fancy Brentford causing an upset. Like we mentioned the previous games, obviously they're playing against City. It was a 1-0 loss. Liverpool, they got flogged. City, they got flogged. Lost to Tottenham 3-2.
They actually
and beat Wolves.
haven't had an easy run with fixture-wise the last couple of months.
No, exactly.
But still, they would have expected, especially even last season, they were in European football, you'd expect a few draws or a win in there, yeah.
And Ivan Toney just continues to find the back of the net.
Yeah,
so
the cheater.
If you don't have him for like an anytime goal,
he'll be betting on himself. So yeah,
he'll be betting on himself. But yeah, I'm going to go Brentford cause an upset at London Stadium.
All right, yeah, all good. I'll go West Ham in that one. Let's finish off the show as we always do. Leo, he's got a trivia question. He's been talking it up all day that we're not going to get it, so we probably won't, but we'll have a crack at it anyway. What's the trivia question for today? Thanks, Leo.
All right, boys. In the WSL, Chelsea were unbeaten at home since February 2021 until Man City recently knocked them off.
Yep.
How many games were they unbeaten for?
2021.
If no one can get it, closest answer will get half a point.
Oh, we need that half a point.
Marcus, I'll go 37.
37?
I'll go. How many games would they play? 20-something games. Oh, I can either go 38 or 36. I'm going to go 38.
Marcus gets a point.
No! Yes!
33.
No!
33. Come on. Yes.
So how many?
Half a point.
Well, so what you equal with?
I'm equal with you, I think.
Oh, we've both overtaken Alex.
And ahead of Alex. So.
Oh, bloody hell. I should have gone 36.
Should have been safe.
That's why I let him go first, because I was like, I can go over under, but so I had a 50-50 at that, but oh well.
Yeah, I remember reading that somewhere, and I thought it was in the 30s.
That's surprising. Only, what is it?
It was just
3
a league,
years. That's not many games, though. How many games would they play in the league?
Well, there's not 20 teams in the WSL.
No, there's only 10. Yeah, true. True.
And they'd play, obviously, less home games, I assume. So.
All right. At least before Alex has gotten back, we've got a lead over him. But I'm filthy. I could have got a bit of a lead on you there. I don't think anyone was going to get that on the dot. So good question, though. Thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you. I think that's it for the show. We've covered a wide range there with the EPL, the Matildas this weekend. Get around the Tillies. Check out YouTube, where there's a big special on that next week as well for when they come to Melbourne, which will be really fun.
Yep.
Check out some of the other fun football videos we did and get around the socials. Thank you very much to Jared and Leo behind the camera. Thanks, Marcus.
Let's podcast.
Let's podcast. No, we're done. No more podcasting. Football Today is out.